Welcome to Victorious Voices. We have an amazing guest here today, DeAndre Brooks. DeAndre, one of the things that I truly admire about you, I've seen you in the community out there with their same shared lived experience, connecting with your people, your community. But one of the traits that really stood out to me was going into college and through Project Rebound and going through the process and getting your BA. And I'm a little jealous about that, man. And here's why. When I was in prison, I went to Lassen Coastline Community College. I was able to get 2 AAs while I was in there.
That's right.
But never got to the BA. And I always wanted to achieve that goal when I was out here. Okay, I'm gonna get my BA, I'm gonna get my BA, I'm gonna get my BA. But youth empowerment, nonprofit, starting from the ground on up, took a lot of time, right? And so I wasn't able to achieve that goal. But you took the time to do that.
Yeah.
And I admire that.
Sure.
And you know, how's that feel, man? Like,
man, so many different thoughts and feelings come into play with that, right? Like being able to do some of the work that we do, and you don't even necessarily need that stuff, right? Just to be honest with you, it's a good feeling and a good accomplishment, and people end up taking you a little bit more serious at times. When I get into different spaces, they have to hear and listen to my voice. But, sometimes I get in those spaces and I'll be like, man, I got some people that could watch you for 5 days, right? Through natural observation and take over this whole process and whatnot, right? So it's really lived experience is huge when it comes to things, but being able to have the discipline and the focus to like walk through that whole process, being able to have folks with me to help. Like I still remember a lot of my professors, a lot of community individuals. It wasn't easy. You go there, you get in the classroom, you're one of the few people with lived experience at the time. Project Rebound and all of those different organizations and agencies were just getting off the ground. So I remember being like in the class and being the only Black person in the class, the only person with lived experience inside the class. And it's like 50 or 60 people up in there. And I'm like, wow, are they going to be able to, recognize what I have to say and the value in that? And sometimes I remember just like being there and being quiet and just being overpowered and overtaking certain situations. But through like mentorship, being able to look at individuals doing the work in the community like yourself, Reggie Washington, Pastor Sandoval, everybody like pushing, it just gave me the energy needed to be able to keep going.
wow. And now you're successful. You graduated. You're the commissioner for the gang commission representing, and I've seen you at that gang commission, and I've seen you take space when it's time to, have hard conversations, and you're cool, calm, collective, but hey, at the same time, you're direct, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's what we need in this space and moment, to have real life conversations that's going to help our justice impacted individuals.
Yeah.
What's your background? What you been through?
Man, growing up, a lot of people don't know this, right? I grew up in City Heights in East Day. Hello, cute. Yeah. I grew up in East Dago. I did everything here. I went to Jackson Elementary. I went to Horseman. Growing up, Kalina Park, I did everything at Kalina Park, football, basketball, soccer. I stayed at the recreation center at all times. And then we moved over to Southeast to the coast to Logan Heights. So I always had my family over there like for like holidays and barbecues and then the lowriders and all of that. So I was always intrigued by that area. But I mean, really, my roots were over here, like doing everything.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, homie.
East Dago, baby. Yeah, but growing up, grew up during the height of the crack epidemic and stuff. So, single parent homes, and my mom had a drug addiction, and me and my brothers and sisters were separated and put into the foster care system and whatnot. And then I got kind of delved deep into gangbanging, trying to find that sense of family, that sense of security. And then I got into a situation with some of my buddies to where I was there and I was on the scene after they had beat somebody up. And I didn't tell. So I went and, of course the detectives came and they were like, hey, this is what happened. We know it's a good possibility it wasn't you. What's going on? And already being torn apart from my family and being into the system, that was the only family that I knew. So I decided to not say anything and I went to prison. But during that prison time, I had a buddy from my neighborhood in there, had been in there since 1986. He's like, man, I called home and I hear you're in here for something you didn't do. Let me show you something. He was like, you're throwing your life away. There's so many different folks that have different things going on there. And this isn't it. And so, like, he showed me some paperwork, and sometimes that comes in, that puts everything into perspective for you. So that was like my aha moment. Like, here it is. I'm giving so much to this lifestyle, and it's not what it's caked up to be. And then you start thinking about the youngsters and everybody else going through it that don't have that aha moment or don't get it.
Wow, similar like myself, man. My aha moment was in prison too during the hunger strikes. What 11 years ago,
Mhm.
Corcoran Shoe. Everybody was looking at me like, man, what's going on with you, man? Like, you keep on coming in and out, in and out. Cause my process was I did 14 years. I'm in and out,
Yeah.
in and out, in and out, in and out. And they're like, former lifers. They're like, what the hell, man? Like,
Right.
what's wrong with you, man? If I had that blessing,
Yeah, they were mad at you.
they were mad at me. I would take advantage of that. I would go to church. I would do program. I need to be there for my kids, my family, my mother, my father, whomever that may be. And so that guidance and mentorship began. Who was this individual in your life?
Yeah. So many different lifers. So, like, being in there, right? I had 11 years, 85%, but I stayed on and off the level 4 yards, wanting to, get into trouble and go through all those motions. But I had guys in there like that with LWOPs, life without the possibility of parole. They're seeing me do my coastline college courses in there. I'm straddling the fence, but I'm trying to,
Yeah.
be productive. And they're just like, man, when you get out, you got to do something. We want to be able to live vicariously through you. We don't have many opportunities that we're getting, people not getting out, and just do me that justice. So I had a couple of individuals from San Diego and LA and different guys that were just lifers was like, man, go be great, man. Take that opportunity and go win for us all. And so, like, waking up every day and having a lifer in the cell that has like life without the possibility of parole, right? And then I'm thinking like, man, like, what's on this guy's mind, or how are you able to process and move forward? So
Right.
having those types of experiences and whatnot, they kind of like help me stay the course. Like, I know what it's like to be on 22.5 hour lockdown, only coming out for showering and getting fed through the tray slot, riding home, no one's responding, no phone calls. And I'm like, what if I have to do this for the rest of my life? And then I'm watching guys actually do that stuff in there. So I kind of pull from that energy, if that makes sense.
Wow. Beautiful minded individuals that have the potential to be historians, entrepreneurs, doctors,
And running the whole country. Like, some of the smartest guys are in there reading everything, watching Face the Nation,
face to
watching
all have healthy debates, meet the
man,
press, turn the
man.
and
Exactly.
that's how I got by, man. Like,
Right,
educating myself, reading books and the current events and this war is happening. Do you agree with it? Do you
right.
not? It's like the economy. We
Mhm.
used to get the Wall Street Journal in there and like
Yes,
so
sir.
play like we're doing the stocks and
Right,
everything.
right,
Then
right.
I'm like,
We got
damn man, this
50,000 imaginary dollars. What we should do with it right now? Don't sleep. Let's track this for the next 3 to 6 months. I know how it goes.
so and that's happening within black and brown communities, man, which is a beautiful thing. And from what I'm hearing of what's happening in there, there's because we come from a background, man, where black and brown have this conflict.
Right.
But I've been seeing and hearing, not seeing, hearing a lot of peace
Yeah.
within the institutions,
Yeah,
which is a
yeah,
great thing,
and it's
man.
definitely a good thing because, I mean, great minds think alike, and when everybody is like caught up in a struggle and you being treated the same way, it's better to unite and be able to come together and pull from experiences and learn different things. And like, basically all they have to do is just mirror what's going on right here in San Diego. So many folks, black and brown, with nonprofit organizations, lived experiences are making an impact on the community. That's been amazing.
And you hit it right on the money. What's been happening here in San Diego, the model that's been happening here in San Diego, black, brown, Asians
Right.
coming together to do the work, the real impact of the work. Because you go try to do this in LA or Oakland, and right, like it's a whole different,
It's a whole different
it's
world.
a
It's a
whole
whole
different
different
cha-cha, man. This, you go into a room and you try to talk to systems,
world.
like hell nah, it ain't happening, right?
Right, right. And that's why San Diego is really like ahead of the curve right now, man. And it even took San Diego a while to get it all the way right. We had to show and prove, show and tell all the way around and say, like, hey, we're really changed individuals and we're making an impact and people watch and pay attention to us. So to be able to bridge that gap between systems and, grassroots organizations, that's really the difference. And people are scared to do that in a lot of places, man. That's
It's just,
to see that.
they're scared, fearful of what that might look like. But we've taken a chance here and created some space where it's, having hard conversations,
Most definitely.
advocating, and
Right.
what's wrong is wrong, what's right is right. And,
Right. And being there, like, for us and stuff, not to cut you off, like, that's really, really huge. Like, just to be comfortable getting into spaces. Like, you talked about the gang commission. I'm sharing a gang commission now, right? I would have never in a million years thought that I would be sharing a gang commission on there, right? Hell nah, right?
yeah,
But like being on there and getting on there and seeing how things go, and that we have to have a voice at the table because if you're at the table, you're on the menu. You're on the better. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu one way or the other. So being able to speak up and have a voice and then also see folks and systems acknowledge, our voice and our past and understanding and say, hey, we do need to make a change. That reinforces, me wanting to be able to bridge the gap and get into certain spaces and becoming comfortable. Because I used to be like, well, what is this going to look like? What are people going to think? And that's part of the psychological enslavement that we have and arrested development at times. Shout out my boy Jonas Royster. We were just having a conversation about arrested development, right? That's just like how our minds think, and we won't go into a different space or we won't do different things because we're worried about what it looks like and just, where we come from. But just us being able to get past that, to have that comfort level of being there and being that voice, man, that's huge.
and
Yeah.
and look at you, man. I feel outdressed. Well, man, they look at coming in with this suit and tie, looking sharp, man.
Hey, hey.
And this is what we need to do.
Right, right, right.
We
Definitely.
need to come in these spaces looking sharp, professional,
Yeah.
right, corporate, and
Hey, definitely. I tell my people all the time, man, like, I do a little bit of everything. One day I'll just, show up my regular self, jeans, t-shirt, jewelry, and all of that. But sometimes when you go into different spots and spaces, in order to be taken serious and in order to be able to show that we have transferable skills and that we can go back and forth, right? I give different looks and you have to be able to see that. So like a lot of my younger buddies and different community members, they'd be like, okay, okay, right? But people treat you different too. Like, I know what it's like when I'm walking down the street and I got my baseball hat on and some jewelry and stuff. Sometimes people might be like, hey, let me steer clear. But when I have my tie on or I have a suit and it's, hey, how's it going?
and I felt like that this weekend. Yeah, I went to my son's tournament, and I was in Rancho San
Marshall Bernardo.
Bernardo over there, rented a hotel for a day. And so, I, I got my shirt off and I'm walking out to the pool and I'm all tatted up, not, I'm 19. And people were just kind of just moving out the way when I was walking by. And I'd be like, hey, how you doing? But if I come in dressed like this with a suit and tie, right?
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, what's going on?
It changes it shifts the energy and stuff, and that's a good thing to be able to pick up on and recognize, but also too, still sometimes be yourself and just do just that because you never judge a book by the cover. So like I like turning it on and off and stuff because it's like, oh, you didn't know you were going to be able to have this type of conversation, or you didn't think it would flow. Because once you make that connection, they're surprised and shocked, like, oh, I was judging this person right here, and the whole time we're human.
Right. We never forget where we came from, man. And so Freedom to Succeed, what is that? That you created that nonprofit just recently?
Yeah.
Tell us about Freedom to Succeed.
Yeah, Freedom to Succeed was definitely created with, wanting to help just break the school to prison pipeline, right? And then taking formerly incarcerated individuals and their lived experience and professionalizing it, like giving them an opportunity to connect with some of the youth like you guys do here at Youth Empowerment to be able to kind of like work on their younger selves. A lot of things that people have gone through, experienced, or going to jail, you come back out, people are still, living those same type of lives and coming from those backgrounds. So in order to be able to come in and mentor with them, I just threw the piece in there with the education component. You know what I mean? Right? Like, okay, a lot of all these individuals that come through Freedom to Succeed have been in jail, but they are also college educated at the same time, right? To make school cool and make it look like, hey, this is what this is, and these are the opportunities you get. And we've already gone through all the processes of feeling alone, feeling like, hey, do I even belong here? Putting the systems in place to make us strong enough to get through that so they don't have to experience that, right?
So the same process that you went through Project Rebound, you were telling me that you were only black man inside that room, how you felt that space.
Yeah.
You're taking that experience, right? And you're making it more healthier for the
Exactly. Make
okay.
it more healthy, making individuals ready to go to school, ready to start, even just at the community college level. When I came home, I started at the community college level and had to transfer and then got to San Diego State. Once I got the Project Rebound, no, I started the first cohort there, right? But we were kind of already
Right. So you were one of the first
I was in the first cohort
originally.
yeah, 2017, opened that thing up.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Later, yeah. First of the first three graduates. We graduated first graduating class as well too. Shout out Project Rebound, still tap in with them all the time on a regular basis. And it's been amazing to see what David Duran is doing there. As a matter of fact, every semester we get 2 fellows from Project Rebound to help scale Freedom to Succeed. And so, like, they're getting the experience of being in the nonprofit world. Project Rebound has been able to fund that right there for us, and we've been able to scale our organization. So I'm just like in a grant writing phase and donation phase, but we have a database now with maybe 200 different grants, the dates, what they're all about, and when we're ready to go from, do the Project Rebound, sending folks over and helping scale Freedom to Succeed. So that's been
yeah. David Durant is amazing, man. They come over here, work with our youth, and get them ready for college and a bridge to that. And so they're a great organization.
most definitely.
So what's the vision, man? What's the vision?
Yeah, we want to be able to sit down and work with youth and adults at the same time. I know we got a collaboration coming up with youth empowerment with the adult mentorship program.
Yes.
I kind of like sit down and unpack different experiences that folks have been through and then create simulations around them, kind of like an A, B, C, or D thing, like different choices. So like I'll walk you through something. I met my colleague, Patricia Franklin. Shout out Patricia Franklin, too, co-founder and COO of Freedom to Succeed. We were doing restorative justice circles inside our East Mesa Juvenile Hall facility. And, as far as like doing this work and having the connections that we have, sometimes I used to get phone calls and stuff, and I wasn't necessarily strong enough to stay away from those phone calls or just say like, hey, I'm out all the way around, right?
Right.
And so I got tested with a situation and stuff, right? And as I'm doing restorative justice circles in our East Mesa facility, like I'm just being forthcoming. I'm talking to the youth like, hey, this is what I'm experiencing right now. One day you're going to be experiencing the same thing where you have to say no and you can't care about what other people think, your buddies, your friends, and that sort of deal. So something transpired and I had got a phone call like, hey, this just happened to me. And it was from one of my buddies that has put his life on the line for me in the past. Right. And so that was one of the hardest things to do is just to say like, no, I'm sorry that this happened to you, but my life is on a different trajectory right now. So I had to navigate all those feelings and emotions of feeling like I was letting them down. Then you couple in the fact that he's came and showed up for me with no hesitation before it, right? And happened to say no. So I was just talking to the youth about like, hey, these are the decisions that I had. These are the 3 different outcomes. I could have did this and it would have went bad. I could have did this and it would have went bad, or I could do this. So that turned into a simulation called Under the Gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
It ended up getting some motion and stuff on LinkedIn. And we took that and said, well, let's work with these youth, let's work with adults and individuals, and let's walk through those processes. Now, all of them might not necessarily be that dire, but you have folks coming home from prison and stuff, right? You want to get a job, you can't find a job. You're walking around the house with family members and stuff, and you want to be able to hold your weight, and you can't do that, or just different situations like that. And some people may relapse, some people may do different things, but like, let's walk through what that looks like and find a healthy decision.
It's our shared lived experience, our superpowers. We're able to connect, same communities, de-escalate violence, the cultural proficiency that we have, that gift, building that trust, and then having the real conversation. This is what I'm going through. This is what I experience, like right now. Right now in my life.
Right now.
Right now. So like, look, like learn from me. Like I want to be a crash dummy to you.
Right, exactly. Kind of like all we got to say in that Freedom to Succeed, we help folks test drive life without breaking anything. you can test drive this and go through these different scenarios and see like how this ends, what it can look like, and what can happen. And then when you get that idea, it's like, okay, well, I don't want to do that. So we're kind of like putting that all in, formatting it together and stuff, and then having conversations and unpacking it and stuff. So we'll be here at Youth and Empowerment, working with the Adult Mentor ship program and doing just that, right? And definitely want to bring in Jonas Royster's and Armand King's book, How to Successfully Complete Parole and Probation, because they have some different things in there that folks are going through, and then we could kind of create some scenarios around that, plus the natural lived experience that folks already have.
Oh, that's excellent, man. So what's the impact? What's the impact that we want in these communities? Black and brown, Southeast,
Right, right.
East San
We
Diego,
want folks,
South Side, North County,
the whole gamut, right? The whole 619-760-8 area of 8, right?
858, all around.
Everybody, man, we definitely want to be able to show that and showcase that you can do something different. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to touch every single platform in this world, right? It's no reason why we shouldn't be able to be comfortable enough to have conversations, to share spaces with folks, and we don't have to just end up in prison or dead or anything like that. And we want to be doctors, lawyers, nonprofit CEOs, that sort of thing is huge. And I got a book coming out as well too,
Oh,
man.
okay. What's the title?
Man, Faces of Resilience.
Ooh,
Faces of Resilience. And I got about 24 to 25 impactful stories, man, woman, black, brown,
okay, different narratives.
and
Okay,
everybody with different backgrounds, so they're all formerly incarcerated,
okay.
come home and start doing great things instead, whether they're nonprofit CEOs, whether they're business owners, whether they're professors, all this different stuff. So it's just a few questions in there to get people to like walk through it with them and see what is it that you went through? What was your aha moment? You know what I mean? What was the hardest part about staying the course? And then another question that is big from you on there is, um, what was the moment you realized that, you know what I mean, you conquered yourself, right? Like being able to be in spaces and be comfortable and not care what people think, right? Or understand that it's a bigger picture. And in order to make an impact, right, you have to be uncomfortable in different spaces. But it's just a matter of like, I've made it, I've conquered myself, whether it be a drug addiction, whether it be gangs, whether it be anything that you may be experiencing. So, Faces of Resilience coming soon.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And the impact that I want to see is building leaders, moving out the way, creating safe spaces, therapeutic community, restorative justice, trauma informed,
Yes, sir.
working with our people, youth, individuals, and family throughout San Diego County. Also getting into a space where we train systems, right?
Right,
Through the lived experience lens. And so we're actually launching our OTP, Organizational Transformational Program,
right, right.
in a week.
I think you guys shared that over at the commission. I think
Yeah, so we
you
already got
trailblazer.
yeah three trainings already lined up, man. So
Congratulations, man.
yeah,
That's
so
there.
yeah, we've been working on that for what about 4 years,
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
but
man.
it actually started when I first got out. When I was mandated to do a personal development, self help,
Yeah.
and so because I didn't get no resources when I was in prison,
Right.
I was just in the box, validated, slammed down, shoot, figure it out. And so when I first got out here, and I remember picking up a workbook called Criminal Addictive Thinking, the CBT, the personal development. I was like, man, that's me. Quick excitement, that's me.
Yeah, yeah,
Blaming systems, not taking responsibility, that's me. Like, and then I was like, man, I start processing, and that was 6 months after that. I was like, man, I want to create one of those, right?
yeah.
So it literally took 9 years,
Yeah.
right, to get there. And so we've been able to
Real
get
love.
some support, man, and we're excited about that.
Yeah, yeah, man. I'm excited for you. That's amazing stuff right there all the way around, right? Like being able to take something that's already going on and working and be able to push your energy, your love and your experience behind it, right? In order to make it more palatable for folks to be able to that come from our communities to just take that, breathe it, unpack it themselves and take it and run. So that's super amazing. And then we need to have more of that. You know what I mean? Being able to connect with systems and bring that lived experience component there because it works. People will listen to what you have to say or what I have to say or different communities and stuff, right? Because we've been there and we've been through it, but we also can connect with them and stuff. So sometimes like systems has to understand when to take a back seat. Just like at certain times we're like, oh, okay, we have to have collaborative efforts and do different things. But I'm glad you're spearheading that right there. It's super needed.
Yeah. So Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. I wish you the best, DeAndre, in your life, your successes, your visions, your team, that you guys achieve greatness. I'm here. Whatever I could share, proposals, winning proposals, grants, templates, all that,
Sure.
they're all here. I'll share it with you.
I appreciate that, brother. Appreciate the resource. Appreciate all the work that you've been doing. It's been a joy watching you build this thing from the ground up. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've watched you, Reggie, Pastor Sandoval, Rob Dog. I watched everybody like start from the ground up and go. So I'm kind of like a few years behind you. But I got
Hey, now that we we can push you up a little,
well,
a little faster, and that's what we're talking about earlier, paving the way for the next generations.
most definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.